Star Gospel Mission is Charleston's oldest independent faith-based charity, and their mission is to transform people's lives through Jesus Christ and help them get back on their feet. Today, I talk one-on-one with the executive director of Star Gospel Mission, Dr. Marion Platt, for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Dr. Marion Platt, welcome to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you so much. It's a real pleasure to be here with you today, Quintin. I appreciate everything you do for our community.
Well, you're very welcome. Happy to do it. Love this community as well. And I'm bringing you on Quintin's Close-Ups, Dr. Platt, because obviously you're the executive director of the Star Gospel Mission, which is Charleston's oldest independent faith-based charity. And it was obviously my neighbor from 1999 up until last year.
Oh.
Yeah, you live right around the corner from the Star Gospel Mission. But of course, all were the independent faith-based charity, and still is to this day. Your mission is to transform lives through Jesus Christ by compassionately providing resources for people experiencing hardships. So tell me, Dr. Platt, what's new, what's now with the Star Gospel Mission?
Well, thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I mean, you passed the quiz, you passed the test. Most people, when they connect with me and want to learn about Star Gospel Mission, they haven't memorized most of our branding information. You are indeed correct. We are Charleston's oldest independent faith-based charity. We are now celebrating our 120th year, and we are really excited about the expansion of programming that's going to happen there at our campus located at 474 Meeting Street. You're right. I mean, you pointed out our mission statement as well. At Star Gospel Mission, we're all about transformation. One of the things that I love to see is when people come to Star Gospel Mission seeking maybe housing or assistance with their utilities, or they come seeking sobriety or seeking reconciliation with their family or their children from whom they've been estranged. To see them get those goals and experience transformation is the thing that gets me up every morning. I just love to see it.
Wow. And I want to get back to that in just a second, Dr. Platt. But you just mentioned, obviously, the Star Gospel Mission is celebrating its 120th anniversary.
That's right.
Where are you emotionally?
Well, I'm just so thrilled, and I have to say, I am overwhelmed with gratitude. You know, just a couple weeks ago, I was out at Magnolia Cemetery, and I was attending a funeral there. And on my way, walking out of the cemetery, I looked down and to my right, and I never had seen this marker before. But it was the marker of the founder of Star Gospel Mission, Obadiah Dugan.
Wow. That is interesting. Yeah. Yeah, that is very interesting. And from the time that Star Gospel Mission was obviously created in 120 years ago to right now, what is the biggest difference in your mind, Dr. Platt?
Yeah, I would say the biggest difference would be, early on, Star Gospel Mission it was a place where people could come and sleep. I mean, if you look at some of the old 100-year-old photos that we have, there are pictures of men sleeping on the floor, kind of an open bay, with cots lined across the floor. But these days, what we really try to focus on is there's a mix that we talk about, the right formula of dignity and density. You can store lots of people in one room, but the more people are in that room, then the sense of dignity goes down. Okay? But for us, when we're able to give someone semi-private lodging, plenty of space where they can operate and live and thrive, that raises their dignity. When we're able to provide nutritious meals every day for the people that we serve, that raises the level of dignity. When we're able to interact in redemptive ways with the people who come to us in their hour of need, that raises the dignity. And so when we keep dignity in mind, it increases the excellence of the program. And so for us at Star Gospel Mission, we're always thinking, how can we serve people with excellence? How can we make sure that these people who have been marginalized because of their substance abuse disorder or because of the fact that they were homeless, how can we bring them center to the story and help them to experience God's best for them through the kind of ministry that Star Gospel Mission practices and through the wonderful employees and volunteers whom I get to work with every day.
And Dr. Platt, what more resources do you need to continue to tell that story 10, 20 years from now when it comes to Star Gospel Mission?
Yeah, that's a great question, Quintin, and I want to thank you, because what I'm going to ask for from your listeners and viewers today is exactly what you have done. You know, Star Gospel Mission has been a very well kept secret for so many years in the Low Country. But what we have done recently is that we've been very strategic about connecting with other organizations that serve, making sure that we're a good partner, and also connecting with people like you, Quintin, who can help us tell our story for, you know, the many people that live in Charleston and love Charleston and who work and worship in Charleston, but who have never heard the Star Gospel Mission story. And so I think right now, if people have the opportunity to connect with us on social media, to go to our website, stargospelmission.org, and sign up for our newsletter so that they can see and receive up-to-date information about what we're doing and what is happening in the lives of those that we serve. That is very, very important work. And I want to thank you, Quintin, for helping to get this story out. Because one of the things that we always talk about at Star Gospel Mission, and in addition to serving people with excellence, is that we do a good work and tell a good story. And what we need is our friends to help us tell the story of Star Gospel Mission.
What is the crux of your story, Dr. Platt?
Yeah, that's great. Well, I really think about the crux of our story, and it's funny that you use that word, the crux, because it really is the cross. You know, for us, and I'm a preacher, but you know, yesterday was Sunday, Quentin, and don't take me much to start preaching. But you know, there's one thing about providing people with their physical needs, right? Their physical needs, these the things you think about, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, food and shelter, and everything on up to self-actualization. But you know, we can do all of those things, but the matters of the soul are important as well. When people have an opportunity to establish and maintain conscious contact with God, communion with Him, they get a sense of hope and purpose. And so for us, the crux of the matter is redemption. It's being able to see people reconnect with a God who loves them so much, and also the people around them who love them so much. And they may have been estranged from their parents, from their families, from their children, from their community. But we see when we're able to connect them with the divine, then we also see them connecting horizontally with their neighbors, which is the reminder that Jesus gives us in the Gospels when he was asked, what's the most important commandment in the book? He said, to love the Lord your God with all of your heart, soul, mind, and strength. That's a vertical beam.
Right.
And to love your neighbor as yourself is the horizontal beam. And that, dear sir, is the crux of the matter.
What are those other connections that your guests and your residents are encountering based off of that love that they're getting from Jesus Christ and the volunteers and employees at Star Gospel Mission?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question?
Yes, sir. You talked earlier, Dr. Platt, about those connections. What other connections are your guests receiving based off their experience with your employees
Oh,
and their experience with Jesus Christ?
yeah, that's great. So the folks who come to Star Gospel Mission and choose to enter into our Pathways program, they self-select what it is that they want to accomplish while they are at Star Gospel Mission. And we have people on staff, chaplains, navigators, who help to give them a source of accountability for those goals. And so each and every program participant is required to meet with the chaplain biweekly to see what kind of traction and momentum that they are getting on their self-selected programmatic pathway. So that is a key connection. Moreover,
Yes, sir.
Star Gospel Mission is a community. It's a community of people in recovery, not just from substance abuse, but also from all kinds of hurts, habits, hangups, and trauma. And so when they are able to come to Star Gospel Mission and to connect with other people who are experiencing the same thing that they're experiencing, then it defeats that sense of isolation that happens when people are disconnected. So those are two of the internals. Other than that, I mean, we have a wonderful network of partnering agencies and organizations, institutions around Charleston. And so if any of our folks come to us and say, hey, I need assistance in this specific way, chances are very high that we will have a connection to another organization that provides specifically that kind of assistance, that kind of training.
And I know a lot of people on the east side who came to you all for help many, many years ago and were thankful for what you all have done in the community. So they thank you a whole lot. You talk about that pathway. What pathway are you taking as far as executive director? And what goals do you want to set for yourself as executive director?
Yeah, good. The first thing that I want to do is to maintain my own conscious contact with God because I have to be what I seem to be. Out of that relationship that I have with him, I know that he has given myself and the board of directors and the donors of Star Gospel Mission the call to expand our programming to include women and children. And that's going to be something that we bring back beginning the upcoming year. You know, up until 1989, when Hurricane Hugo tore down our old facility, Star Gospel Mission served women and children, and we're very excited to get back to that.
Wow. So, with bringing back the women and children, Dr. Platt, what other gaps do you want to fill with that particular capacity?
Oh, well, one of the things that we hear very often from our friends at Charleston County School District is that there are over 300 students who attend CCSD, like I did, and presumably you did as well. And that has really served to be a kind of call to Star Gospel Mission to do something about it. So we're going to make sure that students, beginning with those at CCSD and their parents, their mothers, especially families where women are head of household, have some kind of opportunity and some answer for what they're facing. And so we're looking forward to providing that to them.
And when you look around the east side, the west side, I know about the west side because I attended Burke High School for many, many years in the 90s. But
Right.
what exactly are the needs right now when you look around the low country?
Well, one of the things that we know about homelessness in South Carolina and even closer to home is that right now there are over 3,000 people who face homelessness in South Carolina. When you bring that closer to home, there are over 400 people as of the last point in time count who face homelessness every night. And now that the weather is getting very cold, I see a deep need for some kind of resolution to that. And I know that our mayor, Mayor Cogswell, has been trying to do something about that. I know that our city council is trying to do something about that. And so, what I hope is that those elected officials and organizations like mine and others will continue to lean in to this crisis and make sure that there is um, a series of answers for every person who is facing homelessness today in the Holy City.
When you break that down, Dr. Platt, when it comes to people facing homelessness, what are they? Are they men? Are they women?
Yeah. They're men and women. One of the things that we know about men is that very often men don't have a difficult a time, maybe, sleeping rough, as we call, living in a home, in a car, or sleeping in the woods, or sleeping outside. Women usually find places, and they put themselves in danger to find places to live, because sometimes with women, there are also children in tow. And so if a woman has no place to live, no place to call home, they end up losing their children. And so we want to make sure that there are options for families where women are the head of household, so that they do not have to fear losing their children, and they're also not putting themselves or their children in danger to maintain a living space.
When it comes to spaces, where is the availability for housing?
There's not a lot. Some of our partnering organizations might have 3 or 4 beds for families, but right now the cost of housing is so high, it's difficult for um, a single mother with 1, 2, or 3 children to afford to live in a space that's not far out into rural uh, Berkeley or Dorchester County, where the bus does not run. And so there's transportation, there's the cost of housing, and then the rising cost of food and utilities. And so it's just very difficult for a family that has experienced the destabilization of homelessness, um, to kind of find an opportunity to get back stable again and have their needs met.
And I want to continue this conversation if it's okay with you in 2025 so we can dive deeper into that particular subject. I
Sure.
know you're busy, so I don't want to hold you up too much. But for now, Dr. Marion Platt with Star Gospel Mission. Thank you for your time again. Welcome to Quintin's Close Ups.
Thank you, Quentin. It's been a real pleasure. I look forward to meeting you in person, getting to know you better.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
All right. God bless you.
Likewise.